Welcome back to the seventh grade mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about Black redemption, Black exile, the issue of Black people and celebrity, and how far people will go, whether or not these people can be redeemed by the community. Let's start with a very famous one, O.J.
Hey,
Simpson.
hold up. I'm ready for you. Yeah.
O.J. Simpson was accused of murdering his wife and her lover. Now, when this happened, O.J. had already retired from NFL, and he was already known to be this gregarious, outgoing, likable guy.
I say what you really mean. He retired from black people too. OJ had been more than black for years. So that's what makes that story so important. He he was not black anymore, but there's more to the story.
Hold
Here's the
on.
question.
Here's the thing. Going back in time, though, he has some street cred because he was in Roots.
Yes, yes.
So, you know, when you watch Roots and you see OJ in there and he pops up for a second, like he runs down this little kid, you know what I'm saying, and snatches him up, showing like, I'm the bigger, stronger alpha male, blah, 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 blah. So
In fact, he had his Hertz commercial was based on that.
I know, but he was in Roots, and that proved that he was down with the cause, down with the people, and all this shit. When in
Yeah,
actuality, OJ was just a black celebrity who left poverty and stayed as far as away as he could from black people until it was absolutely necessary, or else he was being paid for it because
well,
he.
okay, okay. The reason we're having this conversation, okay, when this whole thing with OJ and his wife comes up, his second wife, we're talking about Nicole Brown Simpson, the white lady. We're not talking about his first wife. Forgive me, I forget his first wife's name. His first wife stood by him. She even said, OJ never beat me. This whole abuse thing is some trumped up shit. That's OJ's first wife, who he had children with, was married with for a long time. Now, they get divorced. He marries Nicole Brown Simpson. And we're just saying he somewhere along the line his strategy was to abandon his blackness.
Okay,
Now I don't
but
know what it happened.
decades after his football career, he's married to this woman, and she
Which one?
started
The black one or the
Nicole
white one?
Nicole Brown Simpson, and she starts
Okay.
having an affair with him with some white dudes, and OJ finds out about this, and things go afoul, and then at some point the woman comes up dead, and Ron
Okay.
Brown comes up dead, and OJ comes home, apparently finds out about this, and flees the
Okay.
scene. Hold on. He
Okay.
flees the scene. He gets into his 92 Bronco, and he has this famous slow motion chase down the interstate in Los Angeles. All right.
Okay.
He gets arrested, and then he's taken into custody, and then there's a trial. And there's a trial, and OJ gets off. OJ gets off
Hold
on
it.
his.
He
Wait a
does
minute.
not get off. He does not get off
Listen.
because he's innocent of the trial. But we'll discuss that in a minute.
He wins the case.
Yes.
That means he gets off, motherfucker. So he
But
he
I disagree with the get off because I'm saying he did not commit the murder. I will give you proof who committed the murder in a second.
whatever. He's found innocent. He's found
Yes.
innocent, and it divides America
The
racially.
entire country. Yes.
Now,
Look,
hold on, hold on, hold on.
this was the first Donald Trump. The OJ trial was the first Donald Trump. This made America. Couldn't imagine if you're not old enough to remember how crazy it was. Second, the other thing that Roscoe brought up, he didn't catch her cheating. It's more to it. She was sleeping with other running backs. He caught his wife cheating with Marcus Allen, the running back for the time at the time.
She like brothers.
But yes, she liked running backs. She liked black running backs is what she liked. It's just a crazy situation, but none of that was what this quote unquote murder was about. Let's talk about the trial, and then I'll talk about the other part. But the fact of the matter is, everything was pointing towards OJ doing it. And, Johnny Cochran, who had worked his way up through the legal system in California, had every job in there. Then he went on his own and went into private practice, who was a black lawyer, because, growing up, you were always told, black guys play basketball, Jews are lawyers, so OJ, went up. Kardashian was his lawyer, but when it came to his
Kardashian, listen,
defense,
no. This is Kardashian was his lawyer by association, and
that's
Kardashian
his
was the one.
homeboy. Yes, advised.
Robert Kardashian was the one who brought on Johnny Cochran because he didn't
Yeah,
have the
skills, the skills. Yeah, he
criminal
didn't have
defense
no
experience.
background.
That's why he brought on
Yes.
Johnny. So,
So that's why it was called the Dream Team.
right, but
This was
let's not
so.
get too far off topic here. All right.
No,
So,
I have it. So
all right, all
here's
right.
what I'm trying. Here's the point I'm trying to make. First things first. Um, One of the people that we talk about on our podcast, we spoke about Steve Coakley. Steve Coakley was a super black guy. This guy, he went to court. He argued with Washington. He's out of Chicago. And one of the things, if you look at, there's some videos out there with O.J. Simpson and Steve Coakley. O.J. was actually coming back to his blackness. Well, here's what happens with these celebrities. They get this celebrity, they get this money, then all of a sudden they leave the black people. I'm no longer black. Then something happens that makes them black again. And for OJ, it was his trial. Another example, of course, the two big examples, Michael Jackson. When Mike was soaring high, there was a few black people in his camp doing his music, but he wasn't around black folks. Then all of a sudden, when it gets out of control, he reverts to his blackness.
Okay,
That's
stop right there. So this is the thing. OJ was not connected to the black community again until the trial.
Yes. Much longer after the trial. Yeah.
But here's the thing about Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is a complex case because Michael Jackson was always black. Michael Jackson, though, had Stockholm syndrome issue, and he wanted to whiten his skin. He could not erase his soul, his swagger, because Mike would always be black inside. Wait.
Come on.
But the problem is that Mike did not want black skin no more. That's why he kept bleaching his shit, kept saying like vitiligo, vitiligo. Well, how many vitiligo skin treatments is it going to take to get rid of this fucking vitiligo? Motherfucker, you got money. It's not that. It's the fact that you don't want to be black. But when he started to get extorted by these white families, the blackness started to come back. He's like, you know what? I'm getting tired of this shit. I ain't fucking on these kids. Y'all trying to get me caught up. This shit is costing me a bunch of fucking money. Is it black? Is it white? They don't really care about us. He started writing these songs with these titles and these themes that were leaning towards race-related views, which I found very interesting. But it's only because Mike was starting to get into some trouble. So that goes back to the point where we were just making about how these celebrities, they want to fly close to the sun with these wax wings, but when those shit start melting, they start to fall back down to a lower altitude, and it's like, oh man, I'm back down here with these niggas again. It's only these people. Hold on, these celebrities are conveniently black. That's what it is. Because if given a choice, if they could snap their fingers and never be black again, they would fucking do it.
The whole conversation, going back to Mike's abuse of himself with the plastic surgery and stuff, I think that was still more along the lines of his dislike of his father. What these young kids don't know, all the Jacksons had Joe's nose. Joe got this big ass mushroom nose, and so I think Mike had some problems with that. Well, I don't fully understand how vitiligo works, if that's true or not, but we get it. All of the Jacksons started bleaching except for Janet. Janet didn't do it. The girls didn't do the stuff. Rebe, all the girls didn't do that.
Tito still looks the same.
Tito looks like shit, but he looks the same. But the point being is that people think that they go above race, which sometimes I wish it was that simple. The problem is when you say I no longer have a race, I'm above race, then all of a sudden you forget the problems of other people who came from that same race as you, and it's convenient. But the point I was trying to make about OJ is OJ came back to the black. Mike came back to the black. Now a lot of people don't know OJ did, and now I'm sure. He's sitting in jail, and all these people think he has just rewards. The whole point I was trying to make is also that Glenn Rogers, who is a serial killer, admitted to doing the deed, admitted that he killed. There's a documentary called "My Brother, the Serial Killer" that was on Investigation Discovery. It's a few years old, so you can watch it on YouTube. Check out that he admits to killing Nicole, explains the whole situation, stole some of Nicole's jewelry, even gave the jewelry to his mother. So this guy admits to doing it. Now the problem was, if you want to know how it works, OJ had sent him there to steal these earrings. He didn't know the guy was going to kill everybody. And this guy had killed everybody. And if you don't believe it, look at the record. Glenn Rogers killed over 112 people. He killed 3 women in California alone. He was up there for the earthquakes, and he breaks down the whole thing. He explains it. In fact, if you want to know somebody who he killed, what he did was he killed this lady, put her in her truck, set the truck on fire, and dropped it off at the hospital so she could get help. He did that kind of shit. Look it up. While he was on the run, he killed 3 more women in Louisiana and Florida. He was killing people while he was running. So look up Glenn Rogers and you'll see. The whole thing with OJ is the fact that OJ was this character. You know, he was in the Naked Gun movies. He was in all these movies, all these commercials, and he was above reproach. But he started believing his bullshit. Also, the other thing that people don't understand: success and intelligence don't always go hand in hand. OJ does not seem like the most intelligent guy, so it's easy for him to get swiped up. Mike was much more intelligent than people realize, and as Mike became white or not black anymore, let's not call him white. When Mike was no longer black, at some point in time, something happened to bring back his blackness. Now you talked about the trials with these little white boys saying that he was looking at their buttholes, but here's what really brought Mike back to being black. When he bought that music catalog, what happened back in the day, there's a song called Say, Say, Say. Remember him and Paul McCartney did it. Well, when him and Paul McCartney, one of the Beatles, Paul said it's a good idea to buy music rights, Mike. It's a very good investment, very good investment. So fast forward to, I guess, the early 90s or whatever, maybe mid 90s, there's this music catalog that's up for sale. And it's like thousands and thousands of songs. And I don't know what company's selling it. And so, but there's a lot of Beatles music in the catalog. So Paul McCartney's trying to get all this money together with all the Beatles who are alive. We're trying to get our money together and buy this catalog. And he comes to Mike and he's like, "Hey, Mike, let me borrow some money. I'll pay you back. I want to borrow this money and buy this music catalog." And Mike said, "I already bought it, Paul. What do you want me to do?" And Paul got pissed. That's where all of a sudden, when Mike showed real power, that's when shit changed, because all of a sudden, Paul wasn't talking to him no more. He was mad. And the thing was, remember, you never heard Beatles music in any commercial until Mike had it. All of a sudden, there was a Nike commercial with "You Want to Start a Revolution" with the Beatles. That's because Mike owned that music. And here's what Mike did. That again, when Mike realized how he got ostracized for just doing business, guess what Mike did? Mike got black on him. Mike, in that music catalog, there were several dead black artists whose families were broke as hell. He gave those music rights back to the families. So again, what happened was when Mike started feeling the heat from being too black, he got blacker. And I know people didn't recognize these are stories that you don't talk about. So on the flip side, Mike is, I think, much more intelligent than people realize, and I think the music shows it. I think that what Roscoe was saying about, hey, Mike was specifically writing music about his experience. You know, hey, they don't really care about us. You know, all that Free Willy shit in black or white was before that. But then he goes, they don't really care about us. He's telling you, like, in the video, Mike is in prison with a bunch of black dudes. He's telling you that, hey, they don't give a fuck about us. Then fast forward later, Kanye used the same thing with George Bush. So Mike's influence, I think the biggest thing is that you got artists right now that people are, say, above race, and they give way too much credit to. And we try to hold them accountable. And this is what this conversation was originally discussed. That's where we talk about talent over over responsibility. You got people who are all in Mike's butt because Mike Jordan never really got political. Now he's more political now, but I think that again, Michael Jackson is intelligent. I think Michael Jordan is kind of normal, not super intelligent. I think OJ is not intelligent.
Michael Jordan is a bit of a different case.
Same case.
So Michael Jordan is a bit of a different case because we never seen any behind the scenes examples of Michael Jordan off the court. You've had a chance to read little snippets in articles, but you've never seen him talk candidly about race. Not until the documentary, The Last Dance, did you really see Michael Jordan as himself off the cuff. And I was watching this documentary, and it was interesting because you could see all throughout his career, Mike was unashamedly black. You could see his interaction with people. But there were things that he said that caused him to lose respect amongst black people. One of which was when the rapper Chamillionaire asked him for a photograph and Michael Jordan said, "I don't take pictures with black people." Now, whether you joking or not, there's some partial truth to that. That
Ooh,
if if
ooh,
if you just throw
ooh.
that out there, that means that shit is in your subconscious. That means you got no matter how much money you've made, a little bit of Willie Lynch is in you, bro. So
Oh,
there
hold it.
is
Talk about it.
no. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. So watching Jordan on The Last Dance, you see, how he's down and how he can how he can relate to brothers like with no problem. But again, when that Chameleonaire incident happened, that made me lose respect for him completely. I'm like, oh, I'm done with your black ass. Done. Excommunicated. Finished. Ain't wearing no more Jordans. And I stopped. I didn't buy no more Jordans. And to this day, I don't
Oh,
buy any more Jordans. Wait. So, but up until that point, there was only one other incident where race was an
yes, yes.
issue, and Jordan chose to remain neutral for the sake of profits. It was when
Yes.
he was asked to endorse a black politician in North Carolina, and he said,
Oh,
"Republicans wear tennis shoes too."
choose two.
So,
Yes.
which
Yes.
means that I don't want to take sides. I don't want to fuck with my profits, which means that money is his God. Well, hey, man, to a gambler, of course money's your God, and he's a well known gambler. So,
Yes.
even still, no, he had not donated enough money to black causes, to black charities, to black organizations over the course of his career of making all these millions and millions of dollars and now billions.
Oh,
But hang on. So now, in comparison to other black celebrities, his contribution was very little. Now, he did contribute to the movie, the production of Malcolm
Malcolm X.
X, because
Yes.
because Spike Lee
Spike
probably
called him.
twisted his arm on it.
I,
Now,
I don't know if he did, but you got to remember Spike
yeah,
asked a lot of people.
Mike,
Oprah,
I think Spike did twist his fucking arm.
well, but here's my point. It was in style. When you look at the credits of that movie, he talks. I think he names Denzel, he names Oprah, he names all these people that. But it's because Spike, and that's what. Remember when Spike said, "Hey, crowdfunding." He said, "I invented it. For these damn." I called my friends and asked them. I don't think he had to twist the arm because it was in style at that point. When something's in style, people who normally don't give a fuck will give a fuck, or people who don't normally, well, I'll give you a couple $100,000, Spike. I got you because you're my friend. So that wasn't like he was doing it for the black people. He was doing it for the Spike. He was doing it for somebody who helped his career early
Yeah.
on.
So, okay, so there's that. And then now he wants to donate this money to helping to stop police brutality, but he's also donated money to fraternal
Owns
police
prison.
organizations, and he owns a portion of prison. So he likes to play both sides. Really, what Jordan is an opportunist, but black people still got love for him. So that's another example. That's why I said the Jordan case is a little more complex. So he's retained his
I think
blackness.
hold it. You said some deep stuff, and you kind of let it go. It's not because Jordan made millions and then on to billions. It's because Jordan made millions and billions off of us. He became a fashion icon, and his products and endorsements, we were the main ones buying it. And so that's the irony behind it is that
Well, hold on,
okay,
hold on.
you made,
But see, but wait, stop. Black people create American culture.
period.
Period. And so because of that, black people wearing shoes, white kids want to be like these cool black kids.
Yes,
And they
yes,
see
yes.
you wearing Jordans and they go beg their parents to buy them some Jordans. I've seen it a million times. We don't even have to discuss this. We know it's a fact. All right, so done.
But it's important. It's important because first things first. Back then, it's complicated because if you go far enough back to the real black athletic activists, Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, these guys got together and ran the game. They like, white folks, if you want us to play, you want to listen to what we got to say. Then you go to the 80s where you had Magic Johnson and Bird, and you had this area in time where the black activism went away. So Jordan is a student of the point in time when it was just about money and not activism. Because the thing is, he's a product of the 80s more so, where later on we found out that Magic was not a punk, but we didn't know it back then. So Jordan didn't know how to exercise his power, didn't realize he had power. He was just more worried about get the money, get the money, get the money. And remember, even when Charles Barkley talks about him, he said Jordan was the first one to tell me about stock options. You know, the reason we got money now is because Jordan's like, hey, they can give you cash, but you need to do stock options. Now, what people don't understand, that came in what, 82, 83, 84, when Lee Iacocca took over Chrysler. He said, don't pay me in cash, pay me in stock options. They said when they broke down how much money Lee Iacocca made, he's making $3,000 an hour based on the amount of stock they gave him and what those options turned into later on. So Jordan was a student of that. Again, I'm not defending him. I'm also explaining. You must understand how much money he did not make. Remember, Krause didn't pay Jordan. Jordan made his money off Nike, Quaker, and Coca-Cola. But for basketball, remember, only the last 2 or 3 years when Jordan's making $30 million a year, Jordan was making $2 and $3 million. He wasn't making no money. So I can understand if you go based on his NBA salary, why he was not donating. Now the other thing, because people want to start checking the history. At one point, Jordan donated like $3 or $4 million to a charity. Well, the Bulls did like $2 million of it, and Jordan did $1 or $800,000. It was one of these deals where they doubled whatever Jordan gave. So yes, he had given money, but it wasn't really directly to black stuff. It was always to like United Way or general stuff like that. So, like I said, he had donated, but we're talking about people of color recognizing their power or selling out or coming back for redemption. Now, Jordan's coming back now, but a big part of that is that me and my brother, we were arguing this fact, is the legacy of LeBron James, because people are saying LeBron is the GOAT because of his philanthropy. So now Jordan is giving money to hospitals. Jordan's giving money to black causes. And that's what Roscoe's telling you. He's playing both sides of the fence, because just as quick as he gives money to Black Lives Matter, who I don't like, just as soon as he does it, he also gives money to white organizations. So Jordan is hedging his bet. He's like, okay, fine. I still want these sales. It's a thing that he's still relevant because of his fashion. These kids know him more to his fashion icon than his basketball acumen. And that's why The Last Dance was so important for these kids to see. But at the same time, it made his star rise. But it still did not make him black. And the deepest thing you said was going back to that election. I think it was like 92, 93 when Jordan came up, because we were about to graduate high school. And that's when you hear him say, Republicans buy sneakers too. What he's telling you is that, hey, I don't care about being black. I care, and first things first, Democrat, Republican has nothing to do with being black. So let's put that out there. But we knew what he meant. We knew what he was trying to say. We see this a lot, but Jordan has not ever gotten enough trouble to where he came back to his blackness. His blackness was attached to his family. And we see that once I always thought Juanita, his first wife, was the brains behind the operation. And people get mad at me for saying that. I don't think he's that smart. I think she was a smart one. And so hence he's getting a different wife now. I think that we give people too much credit that because they're successful, we think they're intelligent. And there's a lot of people that we don't realize are intelligent. Like we said, Michael Jackson. Mike is super intelligent. But a lot of these athletes, I don't think they are. I think the biggest stars we're going to talk about probably next is people like Jay-Z, these nouveau riche. And then you got people like Kanye who are misunderstood, who probably do
Save Kanye for later. Save Kanye for later.
Yeah. Okay. But the point we're trying to make is that all of a sudden, to get that rich, you got to abandon this. And another thing, we keep seeing, like I said, LeBron is now the whole. He's doing charter schools. He's doing this. He's doing that. All right,
stop right there. LeBron James is a problem because he has done a tremendous thing with starting charter schools and being a positive role model to kids that you can actually see the results right away. That is tremendous. I have gone on the record and I have praised his accomplishments until I found out this guy had a boule tattoo on his chest. So then here...
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to piss you off with that.
So here you have a problem. You have somebody who is doing a tremendous, great deed to the community by helping children with education, giving them bicycles, giving them hope, giving them something to reach for, to work towards. And then this person wants to join this gatekeeper organization whose sole purpose is to control and to
Black folks.
suppress the Negro population of America. That is a problem.
Here's what you need to
Then
understand
this
about
dude, then
this.
this guy during these NBA bubble games is coming to the games, fake reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. He fake reading because every time you see him with this book, he's always at the same point in the book. He's
This is
never.
my point about Kareem. That's my point about Kareem and Bill Russell and those guys, because those guys were really intelligent. They were black athletes, but they were actually intelligent. Here's my issue
outspoken,
with
and they were
LeBron.
outspoken.
Yes, here's my issue with LeBron. He didn't graduate high school. Kobe didn't graduate high school. I mean, excuse me, let me clear that. They just graduated high school. They went right to the NBA. They became adults. So, how many, when you look at like Vince Carter, when you look at how many of these athletes went back to college, remember this was a thing towards the right at 97, 98, when these black athletes, the ones that got successful, they start going back to college. They were like, hey, my mama, I promised my mama I would graduate. I think Vince, then even Emmitt Smith and all these we missed that generation. So I'm not dissing LeBron, and I'm not saying he's not intelligent. I'm saying that LeBron was groomed for this position. And as he starts to go up, he starts to discover stuff. He becomes part of this organization. Now, here's my problem with the organization, the Boule, is that you keep preaching education and this and this to all these different people, but that's not what you did. That's not what you're based on. And you're going to sit here and fake read this book but when you read this book, what did it say about black liberals in the black community? So apparently you ain't got to that chapter yet. So you need to understand that what he's doing is that I'm not dissing him. I'm proud that he's an activist. I'm proud that he's recognizing, but he ain't smart enough to do what these old heads did. And when you worry more about image than you actually worry about effectiveness and actually helping people, then it's all bullshit. It's just a turd in the box. And that's what you got to recognize, is that some of these people, they have a crafted image and they're not getting the real results. Black people are going through shit. He admits their racism. You ain't heard Jordan talk about racism, stuff like that. Or if he talks, it's some minor shit. But you got to understand that it hurts my feelings to see that tattoo, because the first thing you say, like, okay, this shit ain't real. This ain't. But when you look at the people that have been Boule over the years, Jesse Jackson, Bill Cosby, all these people who Steve Coakley told us was Boule, those are the ones that try to craft black folks and how we see the world and how the world sees us, and they don't care about what really happens to the average black man.
Okay.
They just want to be controlled.
I got to stop you right there. So you brought up Jesse Jackson. He is a spook that's set by the front door.
Oh.
The problem with Jesse Jackson is that clown has relied on black hope and the oppression of black people as his archon-like food that he devours. He was in on the assassination of Dr. King. He knew that he wasn't going to get shot, so he was standing perfectly fine and upright with confidence when that gunshot rang out. He has done very, very surreptitious things since the assassination of Dr. King. He has failed run for presidency in 1984. This guy is full of shit. He is a slick preacher. He was caught on a hot microphone with Al Sharpton, who's another one just like him, who utilizes the oppression of black people to eat off of it. And they were caught on a hot microphone saying we should cut Obama's balls off. These guys are reptilian booty scratchers. They're Boule. They ain't worth a goddamn. They ain't worth shit. Okay? They are sent there to control the narrative. They are controlled opposition. That is what they are. But yet they still have love from black folks, from black people who don't know any better, from black people who want to believe in this united front. But there isn't a united front because half these brothers out here are in it to win it for themselves
for the
and not for all of us.
Individual gratification. They're not in it for the group.
Listen. Listen. Here's the thing: Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton are the same as the black lesbians that are in the think tank of Black Lives Matter. The controlling founders of Black Lives Matter are the same as Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, because
let's clear it up, bro. Clear it up. Make them understand you. Because
those women are Marxists, and they are being funded by a Nazi, a former Nazi, George Soros, who is a economic hitman. He is an economic hitman. He's an economic hitman. He wants to destroy America through controlled chaos and controlled demolition. And so he found these black Marxists who want to destroy the nuclear black family. Well, you like a crack dealer then. You are like the CIA bringing that crack into America. And then you want to say, oh, it's not me. I don't control the airplanes. Bitch, when you put out a statement like that, a mission statement like that, you are my enemy. You can't do nothing. Hold on, no. All these marches and all these T-shirts and all these face masks with Black Lives Matter on it, people don't even understand how vile and dark and evil the people are behind this situation. Have you noticed these people disappear? They're gone. You don't hear shit about it now that Biden has been elected president. You don't hear nothing, a peep about Black Lives Matter right now. They're not talking about. There's no follow through. There's no follow through.
That was the purpose. Here's what my brother's trying to take when he says the lesbians that started Black Lives Matter, and he's talking about Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. What he's telling you is that these people, it's called the Hegelian conflict or whatever, basically means
Hegelian
conflict resolution. So what you're understanding is that they're doing in the worst part of blackness. Like, okay, yeah, cops kill us, so we're going to mess with that. Or we don't have jobs, we're going to mess with that. But all we're going to do is make it known, do some marching, but not actually have any real resolution, not have any real, you have minor resolution, as in we addressed it. So what they're doing, and they're getting rich in the process because these organizations, United Way pays Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson, they would get lawyers together to sue. Al Sharpton, Al started off as black. When you see these old videos of Al back in New York, he started out, but then all of a sudden, when he started messing with that Democratic Party, Jesse Jackson started messing with the Democratic Party. They started getting paid off. Yes, they were co-opted. I think Al might have been co-opted longer than we realized because his connections to the music industry, and you kind of hear that stuff. But the bottom line is that becomes their job. Activism is their job, not resolution of black problems.
See, but here's the thing, though. You had bourgeois activists in the civil rights movement, and then you had real groundskeeper, landscape worker type activists like Hosea Williams. Williams in Atlanta, who died feeding homeless people. Okay.
So you have to understand the difference. And so what we're telling you is that you have some bourgeois niggas, you have these boule motherfuckers that sit here and they'll create an organization and they get a shitload of money and that becomes their job. And so what they do, they take money from white folks to calm down niggas. I'm like, hey, man, white man, you said nigga too many times. Okay. Donate to the college fund. I'll do this, and this. And all of a sudden, I'll show you feeding some black people and we'll fix this shit. Now, you might not believe this, but there are different situations and you got to pay attention and how we feel about them. Kramer, I can't think of his name. Remember when Kramer did what he did? On the stage, he goes on a rant, says nigga, blah, blah, blah. Then you got motherfuckers like dog. So that cancel culture started back then where they were trying to, but those guys got redemption.
No, it's older than that.
So, you are right, but I'm saying those guys got redeemed. Not Kramer. Kramer still is taboo, but dog got redeemed. Certain people get redeemed, and that's what we're talking about with these black folks. They go super white and they get redeemed. Just because you wear a Black Lives Matter bandana, you are funding an organization that has at least $1 billion that we know of, and they ain't doing shit in the black community. Who have they got? What officer have they helped prosecute? What officer have they taken to civil court because you killed a black man? If this organization is what it says it is, you need real results. What you should be doing, if you're Black Lives Matter, the money. the real organization. You should be providing legal assistance for these families so they can sue these officers in civil court. Because you got to remember, going back to OJ won the criminal case, but he lost the civil. So he has to pay Nicole Brown Simpson's family and Ron Goldman's family. So that's what we should be doing. Little boy John Skurlock, the guy shot here in Nebraska. Where's Black Lives Matter? They should be. Hey, we got some legal fees for it. We'll pay your legal fees. He'll sue
because it's not a big sexy story.
Because they're not about real results.
Because there's no photo op.
So they don't give a damn about black people. They just want you marching in the same direction. And guess what? Like my brother told you, now that Biden's in there, now that Kamala Harris is in there, all of a sudden ain't nobody saying shit. Now, and here's the other problem. See, all them white folks that they said was we're going to have civil war and jump in trucks. They ain't get the shit because some of them stories ain't real. Now, hold on. I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm just trying to let you know that was the biggest intimidation bullshit we've ever seen, and we got wrapped up in it. Back to the original focus is that what I'm trying to tell you, just because somebody puts their black glove on, puts a fist in the air, doesn't mean they're for the struggle. Sometimes it is just a photo op. A lot of these guys are like that. Like I said, the biggest ones we're dealing with right now are Jay-Z and Beyonce. And I think that they're manipulating people to the point where people don't recognize they're being manipulated. What did the old black people tell you? If you don't know when you've been insulted, it don't matter what you know. Jay has shown you he doesn't give a fuck about black people. Dame tells you he doesn't give a fuck about black people, but then he'll shoot these documentaries,
right?
Or
but here's the thing. So he wanted to create a deal between the NFL and black players, but it was only done out of response to something that Colin Kaepernick has started.
Exactly. Preach. Just because, the NFL got the blackest guy they can find to say, hey, we're not bad people. And, what was it about? Jobs? So Jay says some bullshit, and Cap technically still not working in the NFL. So what about fast forward? Again, Cap has handlers, don't misunderstand me, and Cap ain't broke. But let's look at it. When Cap decided to do a tryout, he did it on his own terms. And the NFL even tried to put him on blast about that. So you got people like Stephen A. Watch when these niggas criticize black folks. So you got Stephen A. out there. Oh, he really didn't want to play. No, that's not what happened. Is that if he signed that waiver, it says you can't sue. So he's like, look, if I decide to sue y'all again, I'm gonna sue y'all again, especially when you have collusion.
Stephen A. is so corny, man. He is a cornball.
Look, he's right sometimes, but you got to pay attention. He's white. He's right when it comes to white sports, but he's black when it comes to. He's wrong when it comes
all I had to see was him like hitting mitts. I was like, bro, you a cornball. Like you can't even fight. Get out of here, man. You a cornball ass dude.
But that's the same way I felt about Jay-Z. When boy, you got a good jab. No, he doesn't. That's not a good jab. I've been hit with a good jab. That's not a good jab. So what it is in this day and age, everything's about a photo op and not about real results. And so I think when you see Jay-Z doing these documentaries about people in prison, doing these documentaries about this, but you recognize how he's treated black folks in the past. You recognize that
he is on some Jesse Jackson bullshit. He is just monetizing misery.
And so it's real. It's hard to make people understand. Like, hey, this is not a good dude. You need to. And now here's the difference with Kanye. Pay attention to Kanye. Kanye really wants to help, but he's not as articulate as he needs to be. When you're that emotionally based. See, check out Kanye. When Kanye went in on George Bush all them years ago, when he said George Bush don't like black people, that interview was live. So whatever you might think about Kanye don't give a fuck about the establishment, and Kanye is super successful. Now,
but he has issues that are not related to mental health. When you have diarrhea of the mouth and you say dumb shit like Harriet Tubman was not out to help black people, you need to sit down and read a book and keep your mouth shut because you clearly have not done enough historic research. You don't get on a microphone and say shit like that.
What the issue is, you have people who have incomplete thoughts. You didn't. What he said was Harriet Tubman did not free the slaves. What he's trying to explain, when he does explain it, it doesn't come out right. What he's saying is all you did was when you freedom from slavery, You put them in these jobs for these white folks, which is just another form of slavery. I
Yeah,
get that,
but no, no,
but
no,
you got to
no.
understand.
But hold on, hold on, see, hang on. For somebody that write rhymes, you got to do better than that. You got to
Oh
create
my
a
God!
better
Oh,
metaphor, because you got to understand that when you're on a microphone, if this isn't a prepared speech, you're freestyling. So if you're
it
freestyling,
lasts forever.
your
Lasts
thoughts
forever.
your
Out there.
thoughts have to be connected, and you have to have these metaphors coming out, and they have to come out complete. You cannot just diarrhea on a microphone and say stupid shit like that. You have to make the thoughts connect so that you can draw a mental image for people. So when he said
Your
that,
audience needs that.
so
Your
when
audience
he
needs it
said that
badly.
about Harriet Tubman, he lost a lot of respect. And then what it did is it made all these silly hotep motherfuckers actually say, you know what? Well, maybe Harriet Tubman was working with the South and he was doing that. She was
Oh my
doing that.
God!
And I'm
Oh
like,
my
nigga,
God!
if you
Oh my
don't
God!
shut up with that retarded ass shit, nigga.
Okay, hold it, hold it. Oh my God! That's what you got to understand is that whenever you deal with these guys, these fake enlightened guys, a lot of them do a lot of woman bashing,
Yes,
and I
yes,
get it.
yes. They
I,
are. They're
I
what?
get.
Hold on, hold on. But they're keyboard gangsters, and they live in their mama's
Yes.
basements, and they are losers. They have failed at
First,
everything in life.
first things first. I am not a feminist, but I do believe women have been oppressed. I'm not a feminist as in we just gotta. I'm like, look, some of that shit y'all be saying I don't agree with, but I come from a situation where a strong woman took care of everything I
Listen,
needed, and my
listen.
mom whooped ass.
I listen. Power to the women. But
Period.
if you get
Period.
out, you get out of pocket. I will pillow fight the shit out of you. That's all I'm saying.
Look, look, what, what people must understand is that I'm gonna give an example. I'm gonna go there. I'm about to talk about Kamala Harris. I'm about to talk about Barack Obama. And
Oh shit! Oh
I,
shit!
I,
Start with Kamala
I'm going to
Harris.
lose some.
Start with Kamala Harris first.
I'm gonna lose some people when I say this. So you need to understand where I'm coming from. And if you don't understand where I'm coming from, two tears in a bucket.
Fuck it.
You're probably stupid. What you got to understand is that before their political careers, what race were they? This is the question I keep trying to ask people. Like before Barack ran for office and went to college and started doing this whole law thing, what race was Barack Obama? His name was Barry Soetoro. Barry Soetoro was Malaysian. He grew up over Malaysia or some Asian country. He that whole thing about him, it wasn't concocted. It's true. His dad is some African guy he never saw. He didn't know him. He saw his dad twice. Like we saw when he was 10 and saw him again later on. But before that, he was Malaysian. He wasn't black or white. He was whatever race that his stepdaddy was. His stepdaddy took care of him. When his stepdaddy died, when Lolo Soetoro died, Barack got a shitload of money. Now all of a sudden he goes to that special school over in Hawaii. Then he goes to Yale or Harvard. I think it's Harvard. I don't want to mess it up. And then when he starts to have these political aspirations, the story of I have a white mother and I have a black father that's a dignitary. Yeah, Kenyan dignitary that's a great story. That's the grassroots. That's an American story.
But
all of a sudden,
keep it real though. He did do community organizing work on the South Side of Chicago.
Yes.
That's before he even became a politician.
Yes, he did. But again, I'm talking about his childhood. Well, when he sat there and said, "Yeah, my grandmother's this," he wasn't talking about the black side. He wasn't raised around black folks. I'm not dissing him for it, and I'm saying when he came to America, he got into our communities and did work. I'm not saying he's not.
But hold on. But see, this I know black people like that who didn't grow up around black people, and in their adult life actually began to love themselves, love their black skin. So I'm not isolating people like that.
But that's the hold it. That's
wait, man. Let me finish my thought, bro. The thing is that people like that do deserve a space in our community because they realize that I wasn't taught who I was, and I love who I am now that I know who I am.
Look, that's the whole redemption of our conversation. That's the part. Can you be redeemed? Now, our issue with the whole Barack thing, what my issue is that when folks try to say that he worked his way up, that he was black like us, he was broke he was never broke. That's my only argument. I get it. He is black, but I don't know if he's like us. Now, does he have the same goals as we do? his political aspirations are his, back to what you said, his God was his political aspirations, because it's obvious whoever donated money to his campaign, that's who he really worked for. We saw when it came to the LGBT community, we saw when it came to the Hispanic community, the Dream Act, we saw these different things, and those took precedence over black issues. Just him being there, and that was the whole argument. Jay-Z said, me just being here is pro-black. No, your actions while you're in this spotlight are what we're talking about. Same thing with Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris has a record of convicting 1,560 black men of marijuana violations in the state of California, where they have recreational and medicinal marijuana. So she has a record of doing this. All she did was like racking up scores. She did not care about whether they was black or not. She was all about the numbers and making her record look good. She can give a shit about helping anybody. She can give a shit about like being, a catalyst for change in the black community. She was more interested in being a top cop. She was more interested in perpetuating the police state. She's more interested in perpetuating the criminal justice system that suppresses black and brown people. That's all she's been concerned about. All right. When asked about these things, she's backpedaled on it. In the debates, in the vice presidential debates, she backpedaled when asked directly about this by Mike Pence. Like, you should have known that they were going to come for you with this, and yet you still got nothing. You still got no ammo for that response.
But hold on. Listen to what you're saying, bro. So people are more worried about that fly on Mike Pence's head than the fact that she couldn't respond to a direct question about
deflection.
Race. Yes. And so your skin tone don't make, what they say, skin folks don't make kin folks. And here's my thing when I'm saying about her. Again, what color was she growing up? And what I'm saying, I'm not dissing that you have multicolor. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what were you taught you were? Her father was Jamaican, her mother is Indian, from India. So
black and Indian.
A lot of them folks down there from black and Indian. So a lot of them folks were slavers. A lot of them folks come from from the oppression culture. In that if I oppress my people some kind of way, I'm better than my people. I don't know her personally, so if I'm wrong, I apologize, Ms. Harris, if I'm wrong. But what I'm saying is that you got to recognize that some of this stuff is cultural, and the fact that if you were raised to think that black folks are beneath you.
She is married to an old white man. She has a record of locking up black men.
Faye.
Okay. Has a history of racism in her family generations back. There is a psychological conditioning that has gone on here that has created this person. What people don't realize, they looking at her, she is only getting by on her skin color. That is the only thing she's getting by on. It's not by her deeds. On her activity. No, not by her deeds.
It's not based on her deeds. And when she sat there and said, I believe in an assault rifle buyback on the Late Show, I'm like, black folks don't see the problem with that. The problem with black people, I'm a black people, so I can say this, we worry more about sounding smart than being smart. So when somebody a good microphone snippet, we run with it. Yeah, we should. Look, with you black folks, we've been conditioned. Black folks, we've had our land taken. Black folks, we're getting screwed over. Now, if you don't recognize the problem, you'll be part of it. Whenever somebody talks about taking your guns, you need to not like that person. Look, the deepest thing I heard one time is, why does Martin Luther King have a holiday and Malcolm X don't? Because Martin was talking about peaceful protests and Malcolm was talking about whooping your ass protests. So you got to understand is that they want you to be malleable. They want to take advantage of you. And the easiest way to do that is to take your guns. She's talking about taking your guns. Don't trust that woman. Don't trust her. And again,
Okay. All right. Let's bring it around to what affects the children. R. Kelly. R. Kelly is a famous singer, R&B singer, who married a teenager who was 15 at the time. I remember I used to read Vibe magazine, and in Vibe magazine, there was an article that had this controversial photograph which was a
of the marriage.
copy of the marriage certificate that showed Aaliyah's age as being 15. And there were
And her
those,
marrying Robert Kelly. Yep.
mhm, and those that argue that in that state it was legal. Forget about the fact that it's legal. This is still a minor. This guy is a known pedophile. Now, see, the problem people have with the term pedophile is they're only concerned is if people are only concerned if small children are being diddled or being molested.
Ooh.
Now,
Ugh.
and then nobody has any issues when a grown ass man in his 30s is dating
With the teenager.
a teenager. That's still a child. Still a child. That's a minor. It's still
That's
a
why we have
minor.
laws. That's why you have
That's why
laws
you have
to
laws.
protect children.
That's right.
Yes.
And Robert Kelly had a known record of having young girls swarm at him and take advantage of these girls. I talk to people from Chicago all the time, and they would tell me about these basketball games that R. Kelly would have at these community centers, these rec centers, and all these girls under the age of 16 would show up. He said these girls would be between the ages of 11 and 16. They would show up just throwing themselves at R. Kelly. And a bunch of them would get in his Jeep and drive off with him to his house to go party. And I'm asking myself, none of these girls have fathers. None of these girls have uncles. None of these girls have big brothers that would beat the shit out this guy. And so then all this information started coming out here in the past 5 years about how R. Kelly, was abusing these girls, locking them in the room, wouldn't let them call the parents, wouldn't let them give them any food. He was basically being a cult leader. He was brainwashing these girls. And
He's
people,
good at it.
and the crazy part about this, black folks knew this for the longest time and just looked the other way. So,
But he was enabled by an entire region, by the entire city of Chicago. Because remember how many times we heard about the police being called, and somebody at the police precinct would contact R. Kelly's crew and like, hey, don't be here or don't do this. He was enabled by an entire region, not just a city, but there was a region that just like, hey, anything R. Kelly did was okay, and they let that coonery get by.
that's right. So if you are enabling this, if you are looking the other way, if you're not speaking up about this, then you are part of the problem. And again, everybody wants to talk about Me Too and all these white women have it bad, and black women have it bad. What about black children? What about children? Everybody wants to look the other way and run some other narrative, but nobody gives a damn about children because
But that's because
the power
think these girls are too
structures
fast.
because the power structures that control the media, that control these outlets, that control the true
narrative.
voice of America, the narrative, they are in on it, and they don't want this to be exposed. And it's so vile that people around you, that people are pedophiles, and you would not even know it. That is the
It's
problem.
been normalized. It's been normalized in these situations. Look, okay. Again, we always talk about the freaking credit union scandal. We're not talking about something. We're talking about one individual right now. We're talking about R. Kelly and the fact that he would get people. He had these handlers. He had all these people working for him in the community. All his homeboys and homegirls, and he had stylists, and he had white people, black. Everybody.
This
they all
motherfucker can't
knew
even
what he was
read.
doing.
He can't even read. Okay, what created this
I get it.
is somebody.
Go back. He's talented.
No.
He can
He's
write a song, but he
childish.
can't read it.
He's childish. He has the mind
Yes,
of a
yes.
child. He is like
Yes.
the guy of Mice and Men. Okay, the mentally handicapped guy. He's like that. He is like that, but he can just sing. That's it. That's all he can do. But
I think
he's
the
enabled.
issue
He's
is
enabled. He's enabled by people, by hangers on who want to make money, and they don't want that gravy train to stop. So they will look the other way and let these girls be persecuted. Now, Bud Crawford, Bud Crawford, famous boxer, lightweight, light welterweight boxing champion from Omaha, Nebraska, recently said he has no sympathy for these girls because they're gold diggers. Now, that's some fucked up shit to say, but Bud, you need to check yourself, man, because these are children. children. It's easy for you to say that, man, because you're not part of that world and you don't have daughters his age, or their age. If you had daughters their age, maybe you would think about it a different way, bud. But you need to check yourself on that, man, because that's fucked up and that's wrong. Those girls are still children. They're not adults. They're not adults because your brain, your frontal cortex doesn't finish developing until the age of 25. So their thought processes are incomplete. They're thinking like little girls.
They're kids, period. Look, the issue is that in the black community, pedophilia has been accepted for years because you blame the victim. We have been victim shamed by the white society. So we do it to our own selves. Oh, she was too fast. She shouldn't have been wearing that. She shouldn't have been there. You blaming a child. She's still a child. You know what I'm saying? She still doesn't know any better. She's still probably starstruck. And so that's what this goes back to sexual harassment. When you have a person in power taking advantage of somebody who's not in power. So these young girls, they go to a concert or whatever, or they like an athlete or whatever. They're kids. The athlete should have the discernment that celebrity should have the discernment. Like, hey, you know what? You're a very beautiful girl. Take your ass home. Does your mama know where you at? That kind of shit. The issue is that these men don't have the morals anymore, and they don't have the ability to say no. And I get it. They all keep bringing it up in the documentary. R. Kelly was molested, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't make it right. And at some point in time, you need to grow the fuck up and fix your damage and stop damaging people because it's easier. Damaging people is not cool. This still is about redemption. Could R. Kelly redeem himself?
No.
If he recognizes he has a problem, these people don't realize they're a problem or have a problem.
Stop. There's no redemption for that. This is the problem. Once you touch a child, there should be the death penalty because there have to be examples. Negroes, if we want to be for real about this, let's get biblical with it, an eye for an eye. If you want to be 100% Christian on this issue, if you want to be 100%, Hotep, Hebrew Israelite, all this bullshit, Hadith, Sharia law.
Cut his hand off.
Cut both his fucking hands off. Cut his dick off. The thing is that there should be a death penalty for pedophiles.
See, the issue is back in the day, it was handled by your family. Somebody would have said, "Fuck it, I'm going to jail. Y'all just put money on my books. I'm gonna go take care of this." We've gotten away from it because we think we're more civilized, and I'm gonna bring it home. This is the problem with Black Lives Matter. This is the problem with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. All they do is they make money off niggas being pissed off and crazy.
They monetize
misery. And by doing that, but back in the day, we didn't give a fuck about court. We didn't care if he was found guilty or innocent. If we know for a fact that motherfucker did the shit, I'm gonna see him on the street, and if he does go to jail, he's gonna get fucked in jail. I'll give you 3 boxes of cigarettes, rape that nigga for 5 days in a row. I'll take care. There will be retribution. And we're not about that anymore. We're all about, okay, money.
And second chances.
What I'm saying is that nobody held R. Kelly accountable. My brother's saying there's no redemption for him. I'm saying, if the man came out, I was wrong, I'm getting help, I will never do this shit again. He won't say that because he doesn't want to. He does not want to change. Now, in that closing, in the interview he had with Gail, what people don't, when people are really diseased, they tell on themselves. Now, what did R. Kelly say when Gail asked him about them girls? What did he say? Did he say, no, I didn't? No, what he said, their parents brought them to me. What he's saying is that for some kind of way, because their parents presented them to me, it was all right. That is not the case. He told on himself. He did not say no. The same thing when all y'all sucking Biden's dick. When Trump said, I'm the least racist guy in the room, what did Biden say? And we said this on the other podcast. Biden didn't dispute it. See, when somebody says something that goes against your core, if I sit there and told my brother across the way, like, hey, man, you a sellout. Roscoe says, sell these nuts, motherfucker. Fuck you. Let's fight. When somebody says something that's against so instead of R. Kelly being like, nah, I ain't got nothing to do with them girls, that's ridiculous. He's like, their parents he told on himself. He admitted to, in that statement, he admitted to everything. If y'all don't understand Joe Biden, who's our president, when Trump said, I'm the least racist guy in the room, the first thing out of Joe's mouth is like, I'm not racist at all. What are you talking about? That didn't happen.
Okay.
So you need to.
Okay, here's the deal. To finish this off, I'm going to give you an example of somebody undeserving of redemption from black people or anyone. Larry King. Larry King
Ooh,
from the King credit scandal, he was basically a pimp. He was a handler. He would get little kids and take them to parties where prominent people and politicians in society would have sex with them. There's no redemption for a person like that. I don't give a shit how much you apologize and you try to repent. There's too much damage that has been done. You have ruined too many people. You have ruined the lives of dozens and hundreds of human beings. So
period.
there is no redemption for a person like that. I don't give a shit how people feel about what I'm saying right now. There is no redemption for a vile individual like that. So when it comes to redemption amongst black people, there are certain things that you will do that you just cannot come back from. And there have to be examples. African cultures, African tribes, hundreds of years, thousands of years ago, they would exile members of the tribe after they committed heinous acts. And that was lifelong, or sometimes it was punishable by death. But you have to make examples of people so that the rest of society understands that we don't tolerate this shit and this cannot happen and will not stand. So,
Hey, hold it. Let's talk about redemption real quick. I'll make a quick story. Like we all know about the Shanti tribe, West Africa. Now they were known for selling some of our brothers and sisters into slavery. But what happened now? Fast forward to now, that president has said, "Hey, I'm sorry. If y'all want dual citizenship, you want to come back to here, we'll give you land stuff." That's real redemption. Now he wasn't responsible for what his ancestors did, but he took responsibility and said, "Look, black folks in America, if you want to come and get some land and start over here, you can do that." That's redemption. That's what these Black Lives Matters ain't doing. That's what Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton ain't doing. They ain't doing a real shit. Like, okay, you know what? We fucked up. Sorry. Make it right, white people. Instead, all he wants to do is they want to do is make money off the struggle, but not do anything about the struggle. That's real redemption. So that's why you see these celebrities like Michael Jai White, people going over there and to the Shanti and getting land and being part of that tribe because they invited us up back. They want to fix what they did wrong. These people ain't trying to fix shit.
that's right. So then beware of the black opportunists who wants to use their blackness, who wants to capitalize off the misery of black people and make a
Period.
living off of that. So beware of these people. These people have the Jim Crow sickness, all right? And they are looking to use you, all right, to the point all the way to the grave. So that's it. That's all we got for today. Just watch out for these usurping ass Negroes.
Hey, look, so don't be afraid to say what's on your mind because we need more truth out there. If it's true, truth can't hurt you. Truth is only going to set you free. Holla.
Peace.